Oh, what's she listening to?
Jen in my ear. The music is in my soul. That's where the music is. Hello, everyone. How are you? We are live. Woohoo! My name is Yetunde Felix-Ukwu. Welcome to OFFSCRIPT. I'm going to give everybody a chance to introduce themselves and give us a little bit of your who you're playing. Yeah, you in real life and who you're playing. And not just their name, but like let the people know who you are. Yes, I'm Yetunde. I'm the Artistic Associate at Kansas City Repertory Theater. Welcome to OFFSCRIPT. Rasell, we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Rasell Holt. I'm playing the role of Fish, who is an opponent turned training partner to our lead character, Jay the Sport.
Awesome. And we'll move on to Semaj.
Hi, everybody. I'm Semaj Miller. I play Jay the Sport Jackson, a world-class boxer and fighter.
Nice. And we'll finish off with Walter.
Hello, everybody. My name is Walter Coppage. I am playing Winton, who is the trainer of the Negro heavyweight champion of the world. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So 30 minutes feels like a long time when you have to learn lines or do something you don't really feel like doing, but in this, it's really short, so we're gonna dive right in. I will start by asking, which of you was familiar with Jack Smith before this script? Like, who knew his story? Let's see how well our Black history teachers did. Who knew Jack Johnson's story before the Royale? Rasell.
I actually knew of Jack Johnson years ago due to an improv-based kind of show that developed into a full thing through this group called the Neo-Futurists in Chicago. We did a story that was titled "A Story Told in 7 Fights," and the director, Tony Santiago, asked me to help with the improv as the role of Jack Johnson.
Nice.
So that's where all my homework and knowledge of him came more in depth, but always knew his name just because I'm a big fan of the sport itself, and Ali was somebody who was known to give him credit.
Oh, I did not know that. Ali.
There's a couple interviews where you could hear Ali give a shout out to Jack Johnson.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Did anybody else have any experience with Jack Johnson before now? I surely didn't.
I think mine was based on the Great White Hope, the play that James Earl Jones and Jane Alexander were in on Broadway, and then was then made into a movie. I think that was the first time I'd ever heard of Jack Johnson. But then, yeah, I think it's like kind of like what Rasell said. I was a huge fan of Muhammad Ali too, and then just following the sport, got to know a little bit more about him. My father was a huge boxing fan, so he knew of Jack Johnson. Yeah.
Nice. My father was he was interested in boxing, but just like we had the punching bag in the basement and the equipment, and then nobody else in the family was interested in boxing. So a lot of you, what am I going to do with you? So there's a few people on this phone call that have been interested in this play for quite some time, not mentioning any names, Rasell, Semaj. What is it that, now I didn't want to put anybody out there. Rasell, Semaj. What is it that drew you to this play? Like, what is it that not only draws you to the play, and what is it that draws you to, and what is it that you find in common with the character that you are playing? And that's a question for each of you. We'll start with Semaj. We haven't heard from you yet.
I like this. I saw the play years ago in Chicago, which feels like a lifetime ago actually now. And I love Black theater. I'm a big fan of theater, but I like the different styles that a lot of shows are starting to present. And this one was unique. The first time I saw it, I was like, this is different. And I like different. So that was great. It's also a very physical show, which is something that I'm always interested in. I'm always finding myself in these parts that are incredibly physically demanding in some capacity. And I was curious and am curious about the pursuit of a goal full throttle, which is really what Jay does in the show. He has a goal, he has something that he wants to go after, and he is like literally pursuing it in every scene. And sometimes that can get complicated for him, and how he gathers himself and continues to either decide to press forward or not to press forward. Like he's constantly deciding his next move. So he feels like an amazing chess player, which I find fascinating.
Nice. Who wants to jump in?
I'll do it. No, I knew about this show actually like a few months after the aforementioned show, A Story Told in 7 Fights, and I was just like looking up shows, and this one popped up, and I was interested in it right away for a number of reasons. One, Jack Johnson, but two, the way that it handles language, the rhythm, the poetry that's present throughout the script. I thought that was very interesting and makes for a fun challenge to tackle. And with that said, no, it's just, and I love physical work in general. That's a lot of the background work that I've been able to do so far. So I was very, intrigued to be able to jump into that a bit more. And when it comes in line with Fish is a cat, basically, like his name. He's somebody, a fish out of water, so to speak. And me, more times than not, and I know this like about to sound mad corny, I did not come up in theater, so more times than not, I generally feel like that. For me, I think that's also a great feeling, because I know I love being in rooms where I feel like that, because I know like I'm not the best one here, and to draw from everybody else around me, it's always incredible. And I think that's something that Fish carries with him as well, especially being across from Jay, who is someone that, especially at the time, if there's anybody who's boxing, they're gonna look up to him.
Nice. Walter, drop some wisdom on us, Walter.
Hold up, wait, what? You just saying that because I'm old. No, interestingly enough, the first time I heard of the show was when Stuart Carden was looking at coming to Kansas City, and I'd heard that he was the director of the show, and I'd heard of the show, but I didn't really know it. And I think that was the first time I got a chance to read it, and it was not at all what I expected when I heard just what it was about. The telling of it is just is very different. It's like Semaj said, it's unique in that way. It's different in that way, and I think it also is a great story about these men, these Black men who are together and supportive of each other and driving towards this one goal. And I think what got me too about it was that well, for me, my dad was, like I said, he was a huge boxing fan, and when I was a kid, Friday nights, that was it. We would get together, we'd watch the fights. We're talking about the 60s, And so my dad, he would sit with me and he'd tell me all what was happening. And I don't know if I loved the sport or if I loved my dad's love of the sport. And it was this thing, of being able to sit with him and we could bond over it. And so that's part of it for me, is this love that my dad had for it. And also too, he came up in a time where, as he said, this was one of the few places where a Black man and a white man were equal. I mean, it wasn't like baseball or football where they could still mess with you. Once you were in the ring, they couldn't really mess with you. It was the two of you. And it was, it was a level playing field, is how my father put it. So, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of how that's what drew me to the play initially. And then just the piece itself is just beautiful. It's a really beautiful work.
Nice. So I have a challenge. I'm going to do as the show says and go off script. This is not a question that's on my little cue card, my imaginary cue card. How would you describe the play? Somebody right now is like, I'm not really a fan of boxing. I don't care too much for boxing. It's a brutal sport. How would you describe this play? And you can't use the word boxing. You can't use the word fight. You can't even use the word sport. I'm trying to get at what is the underlying story for those who might be thinking, I'm not into boxing. Tell us how would you describe the play not using any of those words?
I think there is something infinitely interesting in regards to a person who is willing to break through any and all obstacles and barriers to achieve what they perceive as a level of greatness, how they define greatness. And I think that is something that's heavily on display for the characters in the show, specifically our lead. And if you, like myself, enjoy the idea of greatness, obviously I got to bring up a couple athletes, like, for example, somebody like Tom Brady. I don't mess with him, but he's great. His story is infinitely great because of what he did. So if you're interested in narratives like that, I think you'd be interested in the show.
Nice, nice. Okay, I might come see it. Anybody have a different take I'm not completely won over. Still sounds like a sport play. Somebody tell me something different. Who else has a different take? Semaj has something cooking.
Because I always in my mind, I'm fascinated that this play looks at the cost of being first when the world around you is not ready. But the world also needs to, go, right? There's a line in the show where Max, who is the white character in the room, tells Jay that he has to be patient. But the reality is, a lot of progress, if you look at progress over our time in history, it's all really because someone's like, no, I'm not waiting. Like, society just needs to catch up, and we will deal with the repercussions when we cross that bridge. And that really is the space that Jay occupies for me, is like, he's like, no, I want this now. And y'all will and the world needs to just catch up. And that comes at a cost. And that you have to either be comfortable with that cost or not. And it's a price that has to be paid. So
I want to see it now. I think I might want to, yeah, between those two descriptions, I think I'm in. Another off-script question. So we have a father on the line and we have two sons on the line. Talk to me about the relationships, like specifically between not only, I was in rehearsal today, which is just it's my place where I go to make everything better in the world, just being in the room, watching you all work. And you all were working on a very intimate scene. And it just made me think about the father-son relationship. So talk to me about some of the relationships that resonate with you in the characters in this show.
Yeah, I think that, that's something that drew me right away to Wynton, and that I can relate to in Wynton. Is I'm a father, and he mentions that he is a father, but I think it really comes out with his relationship with Jay. You see that he's blurred that line of trainer, mentor, and father. Often I refer to Jay as son. It's probably the closest relationship he's ever had. I think Wynton, and it is a father-son relationship, and I think that's one of the things that drew me to the play. Just like I was talking about my dad and my relationship to boxing, I think this is kind of the same thing with Wynton and Jay. Is that Jay is the manifestation of all of Wynton's dreams. He's gonna go someplace that Wynton could never go. Wynton comes from, right after the Civil War, right after slavery. And it's interesting, it's right after the turn of the century, Semaj's character is the future, it's tomorrow. And that's kind of the relationship, I think, between the two of us. I am yesterday, and he is the promise of tomorrow, this promise of a new day, of a better day for all of us, but definitely for Black people. It's just this idea of this could be this moment for us. And I think that's that, and I think every father wants that from his child, is that they would, succeed then.
Nice. Yeah, that is so palpable in the room as actors, as characters, just the family, the room that you all have created is an amazing room. Does Rasell or Semaj, either of you have any thoughts on that?
I'll go. No.
Jump at once.
Yeah, no, going through my specific lens with the show, I think what I am drawn to with my character, or the narrative that's surrounding Fish, is how invaluable it is to have people that create space to give you an opportunity to do great. Just a chance. We all know like how hard it is just to get a chance to prove yourself, and that's all a lot of people need, but there are a number of barriers in the way along to, just to get that much. And what my character gets from a couple people in the script is a chance to prove himself, and I think that's invaluable in life, and I love that part of the script and the story itself.
Nice. Yeah, as actors, there's this moment in our careers where we start off like, someone just give me a chance, someone just give me a chance. And then I think hopefully we get to this place where like, I'm making my chance. Excuse me, it's my turn. And I love that's what we go through as actors, and that's what Jay is going through. Because he's like, I think there's a line in the play that says he's fought half the country. Like, he is the best. And so he's like, excuse me, no, I'm making this happen for myself, even if you all don't feel like it's time yet, just making space for ourselves. What we have to do as Black people, what we have to do as actors, what we have to do as athletes is just, like make room for ourselves. That's awesome. So an exciting part about this show is that it's starting in our Copacan Theater and it's moving into the community. I would love to talk about just your thoughts about that. Is there anything exciting? Is there anything nervous that makes you nervous about that? Are you looking forward to it? What are some of your thoughts? Have you done anything like this before? What are some of your thoughts about the community tour aspect of this show?
I am so hyped for the community tour. I am like, let's go. Because, I mean, I was a kid who, like, back in the day when I was in, like, kindergarten and first grade, we used to go see theater, and that's what got me interested. And two of my favorite actors are James Earl Jones and Angela Bassett. And Angela Bassett always talks about seeing James Earl Jones in a play on a field trip. So I don't know. I'm just hoping, like, it's so dope to bring a show like this with the talent that we have. Like, you have actors who have been working all across the country, who have been trained all over the country, that are working and like are really talented and brilliant. And we get to go in the community and just show folks around Kansas City who come to see it what the possibilities are. I'm from the south side of Chicago. My dad is a truck driver. My mom retired as a janitor. And I just had a dream, and I saw someone on stage that looked like me, and I thought I could do it. So if I have an opportunity to do that to someone that may or may not look like me, like, hey, that is the blessing and the honor of what I do. So I'm like, let's go. I'm hoping it's warm though.
Now, Kansas City is going to show love. I believe in Kansas City. Kansas City is going to show love. And that just, I have goosebumps. Look, real actual goosebumps, because yeah, you don't know what young person is like going to sit in the audience and realize that they're going to make room for their own greatness, whether that be in acting or whatever it is. So yeah, the fact that this is going into the community is just like so pivotal and so powerful. And I'm like you, Semaj, I'm hyped and I'm ready for it. Yeah, I've never embarked on anything like this as a producer or an actor. So it's going to be new territory for all of us, but Kansas City is ready. Kansas City is ready. As I've gone to the different communities and made ways, Kansas City is ready for y'all. Yeah, it's gonna be great. So you talked about Angela Bassett and James Earl Jones, and like they are like acting heroes, like they are acting royalty. I would love to find out who are some of you all's personal heroes, like whether it be in the acting world, in the sport athlete world. Who are some of the people that you look up to?
First and foremost for me, Will Smith. That
Me too. Did you read his memoir?
I just finished it like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, we'll have an offline discussion
Yeah, we
about
can
it. We'll
talk
talk
about
about
that.
it tomorrow. Carry on.
But no, Will Smith, his entire come up with something incredible in how he's been able to manage and sustain his career, and just the drive that he has as a human being shows in his work. And I'm glad he's having something of like a renaissance over the last year too, and I hope he gets that Oscar. And following him up, Donald Glover. Now I say this little blurb about Donald Glover. I don't think he'll see this, but this man is so incredible in so many different artistic facets. Now, I don't think he's like the best in any individual field necessarily, but the way that he is able to integrate himself into all forms of art, I just think that's incredible. I wouldn't be surprised if this cat mess around and writes a Broadway play at some point too. So
All right, I need to hear Semaj's heroes and Walter's heroes so I can make them my heroes.
Well, we're on the Will Smith train, so pivoting from that, and everyone knows in rehearsal because they see me practicing my serve all the time. Richard Williams, Venus, and Serena are three heroes for me. I am a tennis player. I've played for the last 17 years, and the fact that this man was bringing two lives into the world, two young Black women, and had a plan for them before they even came into the world, stuck to the plan and got to tell everybody like, hey, I was right. It's so dope. Like and I was like, oh my God. For one, I loved Will in the movie, but it was like a Black man, seeing a Black man who believed in his children and pushed his children and was not abusive, but just present and trying to protect them from the world. I have so much respect for Mr. Richard Williams. I remember watching the girls play each other in the Grand Slam finals, feeling so much pride and things like that. Another one was just a wild card, but if I have any friends that ever see this, they were like, he has to say it. Tina Turner is probably one of my biggest heroes of all time. I want to be very honest. I am a person who you can't tell me I can't do something. And she's like the embodiment of that. Because at 46, she was living off food stamps and divorced and working as a maid cleaning toilets. And she told her manager, I will sell out rock stadiums in the next 3 years. And she did, even though the world tried to write her off. So those are those are some of my big ones.
Ooh.
Dang, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know Steph will be excited because I know she's a big Serena Williams fan too. I think wearing a t-shirt today. Well, God, let's see. I'll throw out one because he just passed, and he was just. I think he was the North Star for so many of us, and that's Sidney Poitier. And growing up, that was like. I mean, it was like Jesus, Martin Luther King, Sidney Poitier, as far as our house was concerned. But yeah, so I think he was everybody's North Star. I don't know. Another hero for mine is James Earl Jones. I've always admired him, and I had the opportunity in 1985 to do some student rush tickets, and I saw him on Broadway with Courtney B. Vance. In Fences, and somehow I wound up like in the 7th row. And I remember thinking, I thought I knew how to act, but I don't know anything about acting at all. This is a masterclass. I need to really go back and think about this. Yeah, it was earth shattering. It changed my life. I just thought, now I got to dig in my heels. I got to become an actor for sure.
I love those earth-shattering moments.
Yeah,
love
it was.
Yeah.
It was just it was. So yeah, and still to this day, he's my hero. So there's a couple.
Living legend. We are going to see just like that. We're almost done. We're going to transition to a few questions from the audience. Let me pull them up. Okay, first one. What's been challenging about bringing the script to life? I can answer that, but I'm going to let one of y'all answer.
Go ahead.
Well, Ramirez, I don't know if he is like a lyricist or if he's a playwright, because he wrote music, and it's like the rhythms of this show are so syncopated and in rhythm, and that is what elevates the story. But it's also, what makes it challenging for 7 different people to be on the same exact rhythm, and you're doing it marvelously, might I add. might I add. But yeah, I don't want to steal the answer. What has been the most challenging part for one of you all bringing the script to life?
You kind of nailed it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. We say Dear Marco on a regular basis because that script is like, but you all are doing a great job at it.
I like the way Steph, I was just going to say, Steph described it as what did she call it? Popcorn dialogue. It's just boom, pop, boom, pop, boom, pop, boom, boom, pop, boom. So yeah, it's the speed. I mean, that's one of the beauties of the show, and I think people really like that. Is this the speed with which the dialogue is coming, and the various stories and levels that are happening. You're hearing what's happening inside the head of the fighters. I mean, it's just amazing. So yeah, and it's amazing and incredibly challenging. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, two more questions. Another one I already know the answer to, but I'm gonna hold my tongue. Who should come see this show?
Everybody.
Everyone.
I mean, everyone.
Okay, so for the people saying like, and I think I kind of asked it earlier, I'm not a sports person, I'm not into history. Like, there's something for everyone.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the answer is truly everyone.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's about families. It's about, like we were talking about, it's about, drive. It's about a strive for greatness. It's about the costs of being the first to do things, the fear of change and what happens, the shattering of certain walls. I mean, I think it's got something for everybody. I mean, and young and old. I think it could be very inspirational for young people to learn.
Inspirational is a great word.
Because it's very steeped in actual history of the time. I mean, this is an amazing man who would not kowtow to anyone. He knew his worth. He knew his greatness, and I think anybody can relate to this story. Yeah. So I think Semaj is and Rasell are right. It's everyone.
Everybody and their mama. Everybody and their
For
mama.
sure,
And
bring your
auntie.
mama.
Bring your auntie.
mama and your
bring your
grandma.
cousins.
Yeah, bring grandma now. She gonna
bring
love
grandma
it.
now. Okay, grandma's coming. Grandma's coming.
She's gonna love it.
Okay, one last question before we wrap up. And this can be in the past or like something that you're developing now. What is the last thing you do before you step on stage?
I always I transition into this whole bag through sports. So I always play what I think my character's walkout music would be. So this show aligns with that mentality already, but like if I were going into whatever sporting event, for this one it would be a fight, what would be my walkout music? And I'm usually listening to that at the 5 minutes till places or something.
I like it. I like it. What about you, Walter and Semaj?
For me, it's I think a lot of times right before I go on stage, it's just breathing. I just try to breathe. I try to get rid of Walter breath and whomever I'm going to be breath. Kind of breathe in the air of the space to come, just to be there. And the other thing is to remind myself to do that, because when I was a young actor, I'd be about 5 minutes into the scene and realize I'm not breathing. Lines are barely coming out. So yeah, it's still that reminder to breathe, and that's something my character says all the damn time too.
You do
breathe, yeah.
Semaj?
I get just very quiet and chill because I know normally any show that I'm in requires me to sweat a lot. So I just try to have like solitary, center myself, maybe sit, tea, might have my headphones in, but like the first 15 minutes or so before places, I'm just like zenned out. And then it starts.
Love it. Love it. Love it. This was so exciting. I hope you all had fun. Thank you so much. You had a long day at rehearsal. So thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with not only me, but the KCRep family. This means so much to get like a peek inside the room. And so I appreciate everyone for spending time with us. We invite you to visit kcrep.org to purchase tickets to the Royale starting on March 8th and running through the 27th on our Copenhagen stage. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you have fun, and we look forward to seeing you at the theater soon. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night.